Montgomery here in the study. I'm looking in the book of Acts in chapter number 14, and verses 21 through 23 here kind of outline, I believe, what could be seen as a clear explanation of what missions work is. And this was pointed out to me by a missionary friend of mine, Jason Holt, one of our missionaries that we now support. And it just, I thought, was such a great encapsulation of what it is. And we read here that they preached the gospel in that city, and they taught many. They returned again to Lystra and Iconium and Antioch. Here's the description: confirming the souls of the disciples, exhorting them to continue in the faith. And then in verse 23, and they ordained them elders in every church, and they prayed with fasting and commended them to the Lord. And what do we see? We see a few elements here. They preach the gospel, and that's the first statement. Then what they do next then is they then confirm the souls, or they did the work of discipling and teaching whatsoever things I have commanded you. They encouraged and exhorted them to continue in the faith through much tribulation. And then they structured leadership around them, and then they commend them to the Lord. And, as we look at this, rightly so, I think, is a wonderful definition of what missions work should be. But let me just say, this is a wonderful definition of what church work is. And I think a mistake that we often make in the United States and in the Western world particularly is that we take the work of missions and we separate it from the work of the church. And we say, well, the work of the church is to gather on Sundays, hear some good preaching, here's some good music, and then go to lunch. And we fail to see that the work of the church is the same thing as the work of the missionary. The work of the missionary is called to preach the gospel, to confirm the souls, to encourage them in their walk, to exhort them through much tribulation, then to raise up leadership and commend them to the work of God. And so really the work of the New Testament church in America and the work of the New Testament church on foreign soils to America is the same work. And we are trying to get that gospel work through local assemblies going everywhere we go. And so if I could just caution us for a moment today in our thinking to understand that you and I are missionaries, if we could put it that way, that we have a mission. Now, I'm not going to a foreign soil. I'm not leaving everything that is comfortable to me to go to a foreign soil. But I do want to make sure that I am leaving my comfort zone of my daily walk to preach the gospel to somebody this week, that I'm leaving my comfort zone of my daily routine to spend time discipling and bringing someone up or encouraging someone in their faith. And that we, even as a local assembly, should be thinking, how then can we commend disciples to the Lord and send disciples to do the work of the ministry? A church is a disciple-making church or a disciple-making institution, and so in making disciples, we ought to be sending disciples as well. And so I hope this will kind of just encourage your thinking a little bit. Missions and church work are one and the same. They're not two separate things. We are about the work of the church. Missionaries are about the work of the church. God bless you. We'll talk to you next time in the study.